All right, greetings, friends. Welcome to the Bears Gym today. It's my humble abode for Bible study and bodily discipline. And today we are in Bible discipline. We are studying the book of Genesis. We are currently in Genesis 45. We're picking up the story of Jacob, the children of Israel, and with Joseph as the leader in Egypt, one of the great world powers of that time. He was the second in command underneath Pharaoh himself. And if you've followed the other Genesis studies, then you've kind of built up a platform to where we're at right now. And I would encourage you to go back and listen to those. But today we're in Genesis 45, and we're picking up the little happy puppet show that Joseph has created to bring out the truth from his brothers and get to the bottom of what has happened in the last 10, 15, 20 years of their lives, to see if they're still jealous as they were when they sold him into slavery, to see if they still had animosity and hatred towards him and towards their younger brother. And so we're kind of watching this as it plays out. And today is kind of the end loop of that little saga. So here we go. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him, and he cried, "Cause every man to go out from me." In other words, he was kind of the ruler, so he gave commands. "Every man to go out from me, and there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren." So Joseph kind of plays out his cards here and reveals who he really is. "And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and all the house of Pharaoh heard." So it was a very emotional time for him. "Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph. Doth my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence." If you remember the other studies, Joseph had a dream in his early childhood that his brothers would come and bow down before him, and they have thus did so on a few occasions already here. And they're seeing that the brother that they sold into slavery is now there, as far as they're concerned, the ruler over Egypt. "Joseph said unto his brethren, Come near to me, I pray you. And they came near, and he said, I am Joseph your brother, whom ye sold into Egypt. Now therefore be not grieved nor angry with yourselves that ye sold me hither, for God did send me before you to preserve life." So he's kind of showing to them he has no animosity. He is extending forgiveness and courtesies to them. As a ruler, he could have them executed, but he has chosen to forgive and to allow them to enjoy their lives, and for the sake of his father and his family, to bless them by bringing them to Egypt, as we will see here. "For these 2 years hath the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 more years in which there shall be neither the earing nor the harvest." In other words, there's a great drought and famine, as we see in some of the African continent countries, some of the Middle East countries. Many of them are pretty much in a constant state of desolation, lack of rain, lack of irrigation, a lot of sand, and that's what we see Egypt as being right here. "And God sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it was not you that sent me hither, but God. And he hath made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt." So in a very, very, very difficult situation in his youth, God used to bring him to where he wanted him to be, and to cause discipline and endurance in his life that he never would have had. He was kind of taught to endure struggles like he never would have just being a shepherder in the land of Canaan. Haste ye, and go up to my father, and say unto him, Thus saith thy son Joseph, God hath made me lord of all Egypt. Come down unto me, and tarry not. And thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen, and thou shalt be near unto me, thou and thy children, and thy children's children, and thy flocks, and thy herds, and all that thou hast. You can only imagine what would have come to the mind of Jacob once they get back to Canaan and they tell him what has elapsed. You can only imagine his feelings that would have happened as realizing your son is still alive, whom you thought dead for all these years. And the brothers, having had this lie for all these years, hid it from him, and knowing that Joseph is now alive. He was dead, and now he was found. And there will I nourish thee, for yet there are 5 years of famine, lest thou and thy household and all that thou hast come to poverty. And behold, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that it is my mouth that speaketh unto you. And ye shall tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and of all that ye have seen, and ye shall haste and bring down my father hither. And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck, and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. So it was a long time from Joseph seeing Benjamin, his brother. Benjamin being the youngest, he was very young when this all happened, but now that he was kind of revealed, maybe he obviously recognized his voice, and probably it was just a very wonderful experience. Even for the ones that meant him evil, probably it was very heartfelt and warming experience for them. Moreover, he kissed all his brethren and wept upon them, and after that his brethren talked with him. And the fame thereof was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brethren are come and is pleased. And if it pleases Pharaoh well and his servants, and Pharaoh said unto Joseph, Say unto thy brethren, This do ye, lade your beasts, and go, get ye unto the land of Canaan. And take your father and your households, and come unto me, and I will give you the good of the land of Egypt, and ye shall eat the fat of the land. So a very wonderful, probably end, not to their saga, to their little happy puppet show that Joseph kind of put them through to kind of bring out what's really in their heart. They maybe thought they would have been tortured in the dungeons or executed or thrown in prison. That's kind of what they were thinking. But instead, they're being forgiven, blessed, and their whole family is going to come to Egypt to live out the rest of their years in a happy, very fruitful land, even during a time of famine, because God had brought Joseph there to kind of set the stage in preparing for the 7 years of famine and drought. Now thou art commanded, this do ye, take your wagons of the land of Egypt for your little ones and for your wives, and bring your father and come. And also regard not your stuff or your goods in the land of Canaan, for the goods of all the land of Egypt are yours. And the children of Israel did so, and Joseph gave them wagons according to the commandment of Pharaoh, and gave them provision for the way. To all of them he gave each man changes of raiment, but to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of raiment. He's still kind of in the mood to kind of push to see if they're still jealous of their younger brothers. And to his father he sent after this manner 10 donkeys laden with the good things of Egypt, 10 she-donkeys laden with corn and bread and meat for his father by the way. So he sent his brethren away, and they departed, and he said unto them, See that ye fall not by the way. And they went up out of Egypt, and came into the land of Canaan, unto Jacob their father. And here, this is probably the time of, I don't know, what's that expression? The time of your undoing and the time of your making. This is the time of his brothers undoing and their making, because they now have to come and confess to their father that, number one, they lied, and Joseph is not dead. They sold him into slavery, but now he's the ruler over the king, over the underneath the king, but kind of the king of the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh is just kind of removed, kind of enjoying life, traveling, doing whatever he wants to do. And told them, saying, Joseph is yet alive, and he is governor over all the land of Egypt. And Jacob's heart fainted, for he believed them not. Probably thought they were kidding him, to give him a heart attack, but he's not. They're not kidding him, and he's not going to have a heart attack. At least not now. Later on, he passes on, as all will pass on. But for now, he's about to be blessed. And they told him all the words of Joseph when he had said unto them, and when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob their father revived. And Israel said, It is enough, Joseph my son is yet alive. I will go and see him before I die. That would probably be a really wonderful experience, to know that your son is alive, whom you've thought dead for 1 or 2 decades. And yet, not just alive, but a ruler over the land of Egypt, and also a relief to them out of the possibly poverty, the famine, the drought that they're experiencing in Canaan, and they're going to go live in Egypt and enjoy life. And his heart was lifted and came to life again, it says, and that's very beautiful. I would probably feel the same way, if I had kids that were backslidden for 10 or 20 years and all of a sudden they came back to the Lord, my heart would lift again, as would your heart, and that's kind of the way. This is like a picture almost of a child gone, and he's back and blessed, and all the years that the cankerworm took away are all restored to him tenfold. And, you can't go around all the time saying, I'm just blessed, 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 blessed. That's number one, then I would kind of question your Christian walk. Number two, even when there are times of blessings, realize there's many, many times of suffering and hardship before that blessing, because that's the way God has it. He doesn't have us eating cake and candy all the time. If you want to have that, that's fine occasionally, but eventually you have to eat the meat of this world, the meat, the chicken, the fish, the green beans, the vegetables, and all those regular things of life that everybody has to endure. And in Christianity, you get it twofold, tenfold, hundredfold, because the Lord of this world is against you, his children are against you, and you're going to have persecutions and sufferings just because you are a Christian. And so there are times of blessing, but that's not going to be at all times. So you can't say, I'm just blessed, 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 because that's not real. That would be phony. That would be a lie, because you can't possibly walk around saying, I'm just blessed all the time. Well, no, you're not, okay? Nobody is. If you really want to serve Jesus Christ, you are going to endure hardship, persecutions, sufferings, turmoil. You're going to experience them, and through those, you are going to learn the peaceful fruit of righteousness by enduring all those sufferings, because that's the way God has us. He wants us to grow up and be mature Christians, not little toddlers, with a rattle sucking on honey dip, okay? He wants us to grow up and be men and women of God. It's bears, so to speak. He wants us to grow up and be man bears and woman she-bears, okay? Not just little poodles that have to be, taken to the parlor and perfume put in their hair and keep them in a totally nice environment. That's not the way it is. God wants us to endure hardship, because that's how we learn obedience. All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed Genesis 45 today, and I hope you'll tune in next time when we try to conquer Genesis 46. Conquer is probably a hard word. We'll muse through it and learn what we can and conquer it the best that we can individually, step by step. So until then, from the Bears Gym, God bless you, and we'll see you next time. See ya.